Okay, bring this meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can't believe it snowed yesterday and they're saying 65 today. Who is Leslie Hess?
I don't have a clue.
I don't either. Do you know this person?
It's automatic invoice.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Charlie.
Morning, gentlemen.
You know Leslie Hess?
Yeah.
What is that?
What?
What would it be for? Is it something to do with attorneys or?
She's an attorney. What are you looking at?
I see we had a check there for us. I didn't know if she was.
Who submitted this?
We don't know yet. Boy,
Automatic
Tim.
invoice. Where's my designated spot?
Right there.
Where does she
Right,
sit?
right there.
Right in the center.
I think I can fill that seat.
This didn't come from me.
He's an attorney.
Yeah, she's an attorney.
Scott, we have a question about a check from Leslie Hess.
Oh, that's the, I believe that's.
Oh, it's a wage garnishment.
Oh.
We found it.
It's a garnishment.
Yeah.
Is Megan still here? Oh, Megan Brown. Did she relinquish being the
health officer?
Do what?
Is she still our health officer?
You have to ask Leslie.
We are still working on that.
So does that end at the end of the year?
I would think so, because it's
Because we
yearly.
appoint somebody yearly, correct?
Right, it's an annual thing.
Before we sign another one with somebody, we ought to maybe have it in the contract, they have to live in Cheyenne County at least.
Well, but statute doesn't require that.
And someday you might.
There are probably a couple of counties that don't have a local position, have to rely on somebody from out of town anyway.
Correct.
Thank you. January close.
Thank you.
So how's Karen doing? How's Karen doing?
Okay, I talked to her a couple times yesterday. It was a little, she's, yeah, concerned about it. She's had a couple of, it must have happened. She felt bad last Saturday, went to the clinic, then they flew her out to Connie, and she had a stent put in her heart. But apparently the heart attack issue had happened a few days earlier. But it, and she's had a couple other issues. She can't sleep, so she had some anxiety and some different things. But yes, I think it's okay. It was a little bit different for all of us rookies down there. We better put together. I think this week's paper, probably the first paper she's missed in 25 years, I would guess. She kind of knows where the button is. Nobody else even knew which was open much so we got her done.
That's what Leslie did.
If I can keep her home for a
Leslie
couple
had me
weeks,
put
you
that
know.
on there.
Really?
It's been on there.
Oh, I thought Tom put that on.
No.
Never mind. Not fully awake
I
yet.
see what you're talking about. I'm not either. Got back from Denver last
Saturday. I had a cousin that built a tiny home up in the mountains, so we went up to see it. Boy, it's aptly named.
How many square feet was it?
150.
Whoa,
Yeah.
be 10 by 20.
It's 8 by 24.
Have Scott look at that dock check. No signatures
I could just.
stuck together probably or something.
Three print.
They didn't sign.
Did we go ahead and cut him a check, obviously, since it's in here? I got a call on that the other day.
Do they have a concrete floor for that?
They haven't poured concrete over there at Bird City yet, have they? Yeah, I don't think so.
I got a form.
Well, it must
They
be,
did run their footing though.
they got a running footing up on the hill too, I noticed a couple days ago.
Of course, I don't know how long that footing they got it slid it shut before they run it forward, but
Told me at least 2 weeks, but
Huh? No, I think I'll put it in there. No? Is there any more checks here?
not here.
No. No, we don't have any more. be some more checks to sign. Had issues since they switched us over to a new server on CAC. And getting stuff set up's been fun.
They're in here.
What's that?
They're already in here though.
Yeah.
What we
Yeah.
signed.
They just might not have printed. I've actually signed it. It's print out of there now. It's a little slow.
And I like getting these
Yeah.
in advance. Although I have to do some finagling to be able to read them.
Hopefully you get them. You should have got them 3 days sooner, but I couldn't get in and do it for 3 days. So we're working on it sooner.
So I didn't have anything to do last night.
What do you mean, what is it? It's a community foundation.
That's
Oh, I'm guessing it's help. It's
Christmas
just-
bonus.
Christmas bonus. And if you ever see any errors in there, just email me about it. I think it's past me, spell check, and Sarah. Once it didn't print.
There's one's still wrong. That should be 63,000, not 6,300.
You still have one more zero.
The other one, you got it fixed.
I checked that and it looked all right.
And I read it.
Read that. Maybe fixed the spot that was wrong.
I've read the thing about 3 times and I missed it all 3 times.
Well, I did yesterday too. Fleming stopped this morning. I seen the other one. The one on the insurance bill, it was had too many zeros.
I had to correct the amount of the whole business.
All you needed to do was take the 1 zero from there and put it on the other one and you'd
Oh, and I
have
looked at that one and I didn't notice anything misses.
Well, for some reason, numbers don't stand out to you unless you really concentrate on them.
I have a bad habit of handwriting. I used to go through the newspaper and circle everything, piss the kids off. And like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?
That sounds like you. My wife is that way. I can write or read something 5 times, hand it to her, and she'll find mistakes every time.
I get worse all the time about spelling things. I have to ask somebody to spell that right.
Thank God for spell check and stuff on phones and computers now.
Now, if I'm trying to spell it, I gotta ask somebody. If somebody asks me how to spell it, I can spell it.
I'm a little like that.
Most of the time.
I spend far more time than I should trying to look up words.
I've seen it.
Okay, do I hear a motion to go ahead and approve payroll warrants and minutes from October 31st, 2017?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, Leslie, I think.
I received the deed back in regards to the property at the airport that the county needs to acquire for FAA purposes. And it was agreed that we would purchase it for the taxes that we're doing owing on the property. As of today, that amount is $2,651.81. There might be a potential issue in regards to how the deed was executed, so I'm going to double check on that to make sure that we are still a go and would like to go ahead and get this completed today. So if I could have the board's approval in regards to this amount and having Dolores issue a check to the Cheyenne County Treasurer to take care of this amount out of general, then I believe that this will be concluded.
Good.
I so move.
You want the amount?
Second.
In the amount of $2,651.81.
Okay, all those in favor of approving that for the property near the airport?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Thank you. And I believe that's all that I had this morning that I needed to discuss with you guys.
Okay. Old business. I do have one thing real quick. I did receive an email from the Airport Authority Board, and they're having a meeting Monday morning at 7 a.m. at Yost Farm Supply, and we've been invited. They're apparently going to have the majority of the members there, which in the past, when they've taken votes and so forth, they haven't had the entire board present. So this time, that's what they're shooting for. So, again, we're invited to go if we would so like.
When is it?
Monday morning at 7 a.m. And the proposal that Dave brought in a couple of meetings ago, that's going to be the topic of discussion. Okay, the Historical Society.
I think after finding out what all records that this organization wanted to scan in, I don't think we can, and I don't think we should.
And what transpired is after the article came out in the paper from the commissioners meeting from the last time, when we were discussing it, there were several concerns expressed. I've been in contact with Carol Northrop. The agreement has not been signed yet, and advised her to be in contact with some counties regarding if they have had this experience or not. So far, she hasn't been able to find someone who has had this experience with this organization. And so I was going to sit down with Scott and maybe send out an email on his clerk's listserv, for lack of a better term, to see if anyone else has had this experience. It would appear that we weren't necessarily informed as well as we should have been in regards to the whole project. So what I can advise is that the agreement hasn't been signed. We're looking into it. I'm in communication with Carol Northrop, and we'll get a better feel for what exactly this project is before anything is finalized.
Okay. Okay, and I know Jeannie has quite a bit of input on this.
I spoke with Carol yesterday and had a nice chat with her. But prior to that, I had been at a district meeting on Tuesday and with the Northwest Kansas Register of Deeds, and everybody present at that said that they would decline to have them photocopy.
Do you know, are they making this request statewide, nationwide? How's this thing operate?
I have no idea. I understand that there's a person working out of Logan County that is kind of going around to the western counties here, northwest counties. So for the majority of those, and then what's that, 10 counties, there was 7 of us present, and so they're not going to allow the land records nor the school records if they have our possession of those. And I also called Melissa Wagaman. Are you familiar with her?
No.
She is the general counsel and legislative expert for the Kansas Association of Counties. I had her ask to see, look into the statute for me, and my question was, who has custodial rights to these records in my office? And she came back and she cited these 2 statutes, and they said that basically she said the buck starts and stops with that I am the custodian, and if something goes wrong with the open records, I'm the first one to be sued. And so here's that information. Those statutes, I'm sure you know. So she said that, if something goes wrong on this website by putting them online, and something goes wrong, then I'm the first one to be sued. And then you guys are. So I'm calling. And I have to reiterate that being online is not the same as having open records. We have open records. They are open to the public every day. They are 1 to 5, and they are open to the public, and you can request to come in. You come in to see them, you need to sign an open records form now, so we are in compliance. It's a totally different issue of putting them in versus having them open in my office. So, like I said, I'm not the only one that is very cautious and very nervous about, like I said, as you can see further on down in there, the people that were not have a vote in that, they or have anything on the last page or the second page, third page actually, they were not at the meeting. So this was just after the meeting. But you can, here's these Register of Deeds and their telephone numbers, and you're welcome to call them and visit with them about it. The last page is the revenue from our office of copies and faxes. And so when you put records online and stuff, people will access them for free. So that's something to be considered as well.
Well, just speaking for me, yeah, we were a little naive in discussing this, not knowing fully of what it entailed. So
I think, yeah.
We appreciate your work and
well, thank you.
Trying to help educate us.
Like I said, I think we just needed to have all the players and all the information that we can before we ever make these decisions on doing that. And I am currently in the process of already not photocopying, but I already have a photocopy, but I have the copies of all the documents in my office, but I also am digitizing them. So, and all of my records are microfilmed as well. They are microfilmed, and I am going through and digitizing them. So,
okay. Well, we'll follow through.
I think caution is really.
And I agree with that. We'll follow through and that pretense, and we'll come up with the right decision in the end.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, one never wants to be on the firing line of being sued for misuse of records, and
The same thing goes with my records too.
Sure.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Well, the public expects you to protect those records.
Yeah.
I can see that, so.
Well, I know my records, and I believe yours through CIC, they're backed up in 5 different places across the United States. It's not just one site. They back them up in 5 across the United States. So when they go in that software program, they are, that's a little bit of protection there as far as being able to retrieve your images. And I don't know if you image those documents or not, or I don't know what you're putting in your CIC programs, but they are being backed up 5 different places across the United States. So if something would happen somewhere, then they can go to another site. But anyway, so if you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to.
I'm a lot smarter this week than I was 2 weeks ago.
I think all of us are.
Yeah. So we will cautiously address this.
Did we make a motion to approve that before?
You did.
We probably need to,
Well, I move we rescind that
Rescind
motion.
that.
Second.
all those in favor of rescinding the motion to approve the records inquiry?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Same sign. Okay.
I just have something on the closing.
Yeah, she needs, her office will close at 10 o'clock on the
29.
29th.
And that's, mine would close 2 hours before everybody else's. That's so that I can get, if there's any needs that come in, so that I can get them processed. And then get my books balance and my deposit over to Dolores by noon. She wants them by noon. And so just the logistics of getting some of that stuff done at the end of the year.
That's fine. We're going to notify the newspaper of that.
And if you approve that, I'll put that on my, sign on my door. So people will be aware of it.
And then the rest of the courthouse will close at noon to finish up their work.
And it's
That's what they did
Yes.
last year.
I'm fine with that. We'll make a motion to close the whole courthouse on noon on December 29th in Jeannie's office at 10 a.m.
Yes.
To close out the books.
Yeah.
to get everything squared away for the end of the year.
Yeah.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay.
Yeah, because I might get some stuff in the mail, besides what walks in, so sometimes it can be a lot of paperwork to get through. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I've got an abatement. And if I remember right, it's just a change of name. Somebody didn't want to pay their taxes in someone else's name.
I didn't pay mine in mine.
Know this guy, he's a good guy.
Yeah. For a couple of days a week.
Good.
Take the stress off of them, yeah.
Good. How's your CEO doing?
Good.
Is he back home?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, do I hear a motion to go ahead and approve this abatement? Apparently it's a name change. Previous owner sold property 10/26/16, and the new ownership record did not get updated, and the old owner's still on the tax roll.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We received one application for driver of the transportation van. It's Dennis Fredericks here in St. Francis. He is wanting to work more or less at a part-time basis.
Yeah, part-time. He's looking at 2 days a week.
Can I hear a motion to go ahead and approve Dennis for this position?
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Just cards. I didn't check them for white powders.
I didn't bring my pocket knife. Forever open, I think.
Seems like the sheriff opened up.
Yeah. Charlie?
Yeah.
It's kind of a good idea, homemade. Okay, we got several nice thank you cards from county employees for their Christmas bonuses, which is very nice. And I believe we're ready for Heidi.
I also received some phone calls from employees.
Good, I did receive one also.
Okay, so for November, we had 2,366 outpatients. Our inpatient volume dropped off. This was actually the lowest month we've had so far this year with only 13 admissions, but we still had patients, so that's good. Emergency room, we had 65, and the rural health clinic was back up to 562. It had dropped down in October a little bit, so the average for the year is 593. We had 13 surgeries, and outpatient specialty clinic had 103. So our average length of stay right now is at 2.89, which is good. We wanted at 3. And the actual swing bed average length of stay is at 10 days for the year. So that's pretty good. Senior Life Solutions started this week, and we expect our first patients the week of Christmas, and the providers are excited to get that program started. We are also still actively recruiting a provider, but nothing set yet.
I'd heard that the clinic's going under a little remodeling and some moving around. And
yeah, so they made the break room an office. So because there was the office downstairs, when you went down those stairs, Heather and Alicia were downstairs, and so they moved their office upstairs. And so Senior Life took over that office and the mental health office, and then the only remodeling downstairs is they put a wall up in the conference room, so that that conference room won't be quite as long. They just put a break room at the very end.
where the sink and everything was?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That way the clinic staff still has somewhere to go for lunch and stuff to eat.
Okay. So this senior health solution is, you've got patients lined up?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, good.
Yeah. So far we only have 2, but that's a good start. Because it's self-referral, anybody can refer them. It doesn't have to be just the providers.
Wasn't the goal somewhere between 7 and 10?
Uh-huh. Yeah. The max they'll take in one group session is 10 per session. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I hope it's successful.
Yeah. Yeah. The providers are very excited, so that will help.
Good.
Do you guys have any other questions?
We're using DoxyCare still quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah.
How about our nursing staff? Is it?
I did not get a chance to talk to Tabitha this morning, but Brenda had said that she had filled most positions. I think she still had maybe two positions open, but she has called off. For November and December, she had called off quite a bit of the contract nursing.
Good.
So we should see that start dropping off.
Good.
So.
All right.
Do you guys have anything else? No?
We'll think of it.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me know. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom.
Boy, I couldn't have timed it any better.
You were almost late.
Not a wasted moment. Where are you going to sit at? Oh, sorry.
Rod and I thought we would come back in and visit with you. I think Rod had been in here a month or so, or maybe 2 months ago. Now that construction has actually started up at the assisted living and skilled nursing care, the Public Building Commission has had some discussions that we realize that the contract with Good Samaritan Society expires in June of 2018, and that it's maybe time to, as the commissioners appointed a task force that which eventually converted into the Public Building Commission to build it. That started out as a task force to research, who we should hire as a consultant, who we should get as contractor, architect, all those things. That took some time to get that done, but we feel that probably it's time to maybe start looking at, or we would suggest that the commissioners appoint a task force to research the possible management of the nursing home, whether that be Good Samaritan Society. Obviously, there are probably 50 or 60 reasons to maintain that contract with them, and that's the existing employees. They have a health care plan, they have their retirement plan and such with Good Samaritan Society, but that being said, there's probably due diligence needs to be done to basically research what other options might be out there, whether it's another management company, whether it's setting up some kind of a nonprofit entity here within the county and having local management. I think those are all things that probably need to be researched before you decide whether you're going to renew a contract with Good Sam.
I agree with all that. Where do we start?
Well, I would say that knowing that you've got a full plate, I think that's where you kind of have to rely on. And Rod's suggestion and the Public Building Commission confirms his suggestion that it should be a multi-member task force that kind of represents entities within the county, and that includes probably employees that of Good Sam, that someone they would elect to represent them, members of the community foundations, possibly one of you, the county attorney, because it's going to possibly deal with looking at contracts and agreements and such. The hospital staff, because having a nursing home here ties in closely with the hospital because of the caseload. Probably a member of our Public Building Commission, since we've kind of been involved in the process of deciding what kind of facility that needed to be here. There was some discussion, well, why don't you just let the Public Building Commission assume that job? Well, we're right in the middle of a construction process, and I don't think that you want to add that to our plate when you're talking about a group of volunteers that are, so I would say maybe possibly one member of the Public Building Commission. And then I think Good Sam has a advisory board that meets with Good Sam, and so possibly a member of that, and a member of the hospital board possibly. So that would be up to your decision. These are just suggestions of possible candidates, and it's going to take some individuals that are willing to serve, because it's going to take some time, and we may have to bring in some outside help. Yeah, we may have to bring in some outside help to help us do some of the research, which could entail some expenses, but the now newly formed Cheyenne County Kansas Community Foundation, the St. Francis Foundation, just changed its name to become the Cheyenne County Kansas Community Foundation. there is a senior living fund that was set up back after the fire in 2010 of the nursing home, and there's some funds in there. And Century 2 has also helped kick in some funds to hire consultants and to help when we started the process of, looking for a consultant to help us put a package together and then find a architect and construction company. So there could be some funds there that we could seek grants to help cover some of the costs so that it's not an expense to the county. So I would, it's just deciding that you want to do it and who you might want to have serve on it. And I think setting up a task force, I mean, it just really would be an entity to represent you to do the research so that you three don't have to put the time into researching what the options might be.
So, in response to your question, Roger, I think my thought on it is that probably being the chairman of the commissioners, I would think you probably should be the commissioner to do it. And we can't have two of you because then we have to have public meetings and all the laws that we have to get around. Of course, Leslie, very active from almost day one. You almost got to say, hey, because it's the fine print. It's not the big print that gets you. And so that thought, and then I think, I just use these as suggestions. There's probably other ones. But get a cross-reference, because right now we're, the hospital's recruiting nurses, the nursing home's recruiting nurses, and we got nurses that are recruiting against each other. There's a lot of, we need to get this whole county going in the right direction and try to save money instead of, keep competing against each other. So this is just an idea. I think this is a starting point, and I think if you'd contact the boards, I think you'd probably get a response. But it's Christmas time, and once you take action, there probably won't be any meeting until sometime in January to get the thing started. And then you can get your input from the commissioners, the other commissioners, because you can visit about what you're hearing and what they're thinking, and that way you can keep that input into what the county wants. That's important, I think. So,
well, I'm not opposed to this at all. Matter of fact, I think it's a needed idea. And not to say that we're going to dump Good Samaritan or anything else. We're just taking a look at our options.
It's only fair.
And see who else is out there that'd be willing to manage this.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of a local management somehow. It's working pretty well for Wallace County down there. So.
Well, then, that's something that this task force could do would be, obviously, I would think one of the things they would do would be go out and interview and research and find out what some of our neighboring counties and communities are doing where the county owns facilities, and, many of them had been managed by national management companies. And in fact, in this area, Good Samaritan Society managed most of it.
Yeah, from Hayes West, I think.
Yeah.
Majority.
So, I think that would be a task that this task force would do.
I'm wondering if it would be beneficial to go ahead and take your list that you have in your proposal here and get it in the paper and see what people might be interested in serving on this task force, and have whoever is interested get a hold of Rod or Tom. Then that way we get an idea in regards to the interest and the people who are willing to volunteer, so that we can get this appointed.
I agree with
this
that.
task force appointed as quickly as possible, because yes, time is of the essence, and you need to.
And I have a tendency to like Tom, because basically speaking, 2/3 of the county is St. Francis, a third is Bird City. I mean, it's population-wise, tax-wise, that's a rough number. So therefore, I think you always got to keep, in fact, he knows the community. I don't know St. Francis. He knows Bird City somewhat. I don't. So I think if you use him as your liaison between there, that's who from day one. And the task force, we asked him if he'd be willing to serve to represent us, and he would. So I think he got one that will already started, and I think we hopefully got two. So we're starting. And
Three.
Three. There we go. Well, We just, that's an assumption.
We're almost halfway
Oh,
there.
thanks.
There we go,
Right.
so we're off and running, so, yeah,
Let's do that. Let's put an ad in the paper with the information that you have,
okay.
and just let folks know that we're wanting to get this started soon. So if you have interest, please contact
Yeah.
the Public Building Commission or Tom.
Or Tom, I think we got to, the Public Building Commission really should stay out of this. I think because we got enough to do, and it's gonna, we don't want them to, I don't want them to feel in any way, okay, now we build it, now we want to have who manages. That really's got to be kind of a separate entity, just from a political standpoint, and just from, a taxpayer standpoint, is
But we're still going to have
input.
great lines of communication.
Yeah, oh yeah. We'll give you all the input, probably more than you want, but. Okay.
And we, really, the statement in here, time is of the essence, because we realize the process that it took to just get the Public Building Commission set up and all of the things all the hoops we had to jump through. 6 months is a relatively short time, and, it might mean that, you might have to get an extension on your contract with Good Sam to make
To make it fair for
valid,
Yeah.
and not be pressured to say, okay, we got to get this done, because 6 months is going to be here pretty quickly, considering what all has to be done.
Do you want to kind of kick this thing off with more or less a public meeting? Or do you want?
We did that with the, process of trying to decide if assisted living needed to be built and if the remodeling needed to be done. We did have some public meetings to do that, so then.
Well, let's try this. Let's put the ad in the paper. Anybody with interest,
In serving.
please come. If we set a meeting up, maybe even the first week in January, 4th or 5th, just set up a meeting and see who comes.
Well, and it could be if there's enough interest from contacting these entities, if there's enough interest for you to actually even appoint a task force,
Sure, they can do that.
and then have the public meeting, then you could get general input. And obviously, if there are some individuals that you see are, they should probably be included on this task force. Say if we didn't get up to 9 people, then you could add that to it, but you'd have a little bit of structure established going into that first meeting, maybe.
Okay.
And it could be, Scott, if you send a letter to these entities saying we'd like to have you consider, like Century 2, like to send them to them, we'd really like to have a representative from your organization there. I think from the hospital, from all of them. That way they'll know that, because we really got people that know healthcare. It's like me, if I tried to make a decision on healthcare, I'd make poor decisions. A lot of these people are involved in healthcare, and that's going to be the key.
Well, let's not set a meeting date then. Let's see what kind of interest we have. We can generate between now and the end of the year, and then we'll take a fresh look at it first week in January. And because
But I think your idea of a public meeting is going to be necessary. I think to
so
get
too.
to kind of kick it off and.
Because we don't want any misunderstandings or anything else. We want it to be as plain as we can be.
Well, you can assume that there's going to be some in favor of it and some opposed to it, and because it's going to be a change, and many times you're not really sure where it's going to come from.
Okay. Now, still a minute. How did we find out about the dirt? It's really a non-entity. The Lutheran Church said they've got enough to provide me. So have you heard back from the state on that?
We did hear back from the state on that, and there's a statute out there that when it comes to work such as that, if it is a private entity, then the county really can't do that, because we can't compete with private contractors, and so the powers that be
That's right.
better not do it.
They seen it in the paper and they said, hey, we got a big pile of dirt if they don't do it. Why?
Okay. Well, good. It all worked out.
I'm not upset at all. Thanks for all that they've done in the past. Okay,
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
We'll get started.
Okay.
Good morning, Ryan. I believe we're ready for you.
So I've got several things to go through here. First off is the promulgation for the County Emergency Operations Plan. Every 5 years we have to review it, send it into the state for them to approve it. We've been working on that this year. They did approve it December 1st. So here's the approval letter. And I emailed it to you. I don't know if you want to copy.
Yes, you did.
Okay. So the last step of that is the signing of the promulgation, which I did send it to the county attorney as well for her to look over. So. And I will say, historically in the past, I know the last time I was fairly new when we went through this process, we had a contractor who helps put the plan together and everything, and we had done that previously. The last time it cost about $10,000 to have that done. This time, with the training that Jenny and I got and everything, and working with the state, we were able to do that without that expense. So. Even though in the past it was grant expense too, it's just save that expense. So.
Emailed it to me.
Need this back.
Yep, you can keep them.
Does every county have to submit one of these, or?
Yep. And you have to redo them every 5 years. And then they change the standards periodically, which they did this last time. So this is all the corrections that we had to, new stuff we had to put in.
Truly is a state entity
Never
that
changes, nothing to do that.
I used to get revisions before the other revisions that were even in place.
And there's several sections to the plan, and so all county departments that were responsible for those sections were contacted, and we worked through them, or with them through them. So. And then once it's promulgated, we have to put a copy in the clerk's office and also at the public library, because it is open record, so the basic plan.
You have to publish it also.
Yeah. The basic plan. There is a
I did
redacted
see it.
version. So,
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the Cheyenne County Emergency Operations Plan?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
sorry.
We can make you a copy. Ryan should frame it. That's excellent, Ryan.
Thank you. And a big, again, thanks to Jenny for helping with that as well. I just wanted to, I was reviewing from the last meeting, and sorry I wasn't here. I had to be at the Sherman County Commissioners, but I wanted to clarify the Homeland Security Council appointment that you guys signed. Those meetings are actually in Hoxie, so I don't go to Topeka for those meetings. They have them about every quarter or every other month. It just depends on the projects and everything, but every county has a representative that is on that council, plus some state representatives. That council is what gets us some equipment and some grant funds that come back to our county.
So basically just review needs and...
Yep, we review capabilities and the needs, and then we get money from the federal government that then we figure out a plan on how we're going to spend that money. So that's what that's for. So. And then KHP, they come around and audit us with the equipment that we have received from the Homeland Security Council. So that's what that appointment is for, just to kind of clarify that. So, we did have our shelter meeting. We had almost 40 people show up from the community volunteering to be part of our shelter team, which is going to be a huge help to us when we need a shelter, whether it's like when the nursing home fire happened, and they had to move everybody out in a hurry, closing of roads. Obviously, we don't, because of the statute that you just had mentioned, we don't compete with private business, so we fill up motels first. But once that's filled up, then we have to open up shelters in the event roads are closed, those sorts of things.
How many facilities do we have in the county that can shelter?
Well, we have the schools, but we found out with this last one that they don't have generators. So we also have the Lutheran Church and the Methodist Church in St. Francis. We have the Methodist Church, the American Legion Hall, and we're adding in the Wesleyan Church over in Bird City. The Methodist Church here, we've been working with them. They wrote a grant, and they actually got a generator installed for the church that's going to have that church up and running. So even if the power is out, that church will still run heat and everything. So, and that's the two main groups are with the Ministerial Alliance and the Lutheran Church and the Methodist Church is really where the shelter team's going. So that'll be a big help to us because in the past, a lot of times it's our first responders who also need to be out doing other things. So that'll help alleviate some of that. So, the radio purchase, I don't know if I needed a motion on that.
Let's discuss it anyway.
Okay. So, every year I try to kind of look through our equipment and strategically update equipment so it doesn't hit us all at one time. Our radios that we bought several years ago, 2011 I think is when that project. Anyhow, a lot of those radios were starting to, they still work, but they're no longer supported by Motorola. So I've been trying to replace them slowly. I did email Terry last week because when I went to get a quote, they actually had a special going on that we could save $750 per radio. So I did go ahead and order 2 of them. He gave his blessing. That saved us $1,500 by doing that. Whereas if I'd have waited till today, we wouldn't have been able to get that. So I don't know if I need a motion on that.
I didn't want to either.
The whole total thing was $5,260.
It was over the amount that we had said, the $1,500 amount. And Ryan sent me the email and, hey, this made a lot of sense. We better take advantage of it now. The deed's already done.
The deed's already done, but I still think that you need to take formal action because it is over the amount, just to solidify that this is done with approval.
Yeah, and it's kind of bad. People need to understand that I just can't call Roger up or Ed up and say, hey, that violates the Open Meeting Act. So
right.
I went ahead and took responsibility for the action, and I guess now we can get your blessings. Or you can chew me out, Roger, whichever way you want to go. I'm prepared for both.
I need
Me to leave before you do anything.
So we can turn the table.
So the amount is 52. That's one radio?
That's 2.
2 radios.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like any with electronics. Every time a new model comes out or a new radio, the other one goes obsolete, and they don't support it, or nor do they want to fix it. They just want new. Yeah,
I so move.
Second.
all those in favor of the purchase for 2 new radios from Nextech, is that correct?
Yeah. No, VLS Communications.
Which?
VLS Communications.
VLS Communications for $5,260.18. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
We didn't really need that.
Of course, you have that in your budget
on
then.
there.
Hey,
I'm actually, as of right now, 23,000
You might
under
tell him we
budget.
better go down and ask them guys, being we said it was okay.
I don't know, this doesn't apply to us, you need to ask somebody else.
And just so you guys know, that's also state contract pricing, so.
Well, I see you got Sherman County's header on there, so you might want to ask them too if you're gonna charge them.
Oh, sorry, I ordered for them too. Sorry, don't look at that.
I mean, I don't have a problem with spending their money, but they might.
They already approved that one, so.
In fact, if it works, we'll try it again.
Can I call a really quick executive session for non-elected personnel?
Sure.
How long?
5 minutes, really quick.
I move we go into executive session for non-elected personnel for 5 minutes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It wasn't seconded.
Oh, second, and then aye.
It's getting behind this morning.
Are you happy now?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Nope, not yet.